What is good, guys? It is the Bluebloods here, man, coming at y'all with another 2-minute drill episode to wrap up the week, June 25th. And I think it's been exactly a week, Brandon, since we dropped the first episode on the story. I think it was last Friday, actually, that we dropped it. Arizona State looks like they're what's the best way to put it? In deep shit? I mean, that's probably the best way to put it. Pete Thamel released another Yahoo report today where a lot of the information that was in the dossier that was delivered to the front door of the athletic department at Arizona State, like Brandon said, a little bit of House of Cards feel, but this might be better than any House of Cards episode that I've seen.
Good show.
Yeah, so we got what the dossier said on the front of it, at least. It said, quote, "I am writing this letter to inform you about the recruiting violations that are occurring at Arizona State University in their football department. My objective is to provide enough information to assure you if Arizona State football is looked into, there will be violations found." What an imminent prediction here, because I feel like they're probably right. If all this information is accurate, which I think it is if they're reporting it like this. So, I mean, well, where do you want to start, Brandon? Let me go through here. So it includes a picture that alleges that Herm Edwards is leading a top 100 recruit from this upcoming class around the weight room in February. Supposedly, it was taken from a stairwell, House of Cards like, but you could only see the backs of them, and they dated the picture, Brandon, by looking at the TV in the background and seeing what basketball game was on. And it was the Notre Dame Louisville women's basketball game that tipped off at 2 p.m. on February 7th, which corresponded with, Brandon, this is kind of weird, all the Arizona State football calendars on February 7th clearly said coaches off.
Dude, I died. I died the second they were like, this game was on in the background, like connecting all the dots. It's like when you see a TV show and there's just a guy with a giant chalkboard in front of him, like or like a cork board, and he just has like the strings of yarn connecting everything. Like, so this happened at this time on this day, but the coach is off on the calendar really just tied a bow on this ribbon.
And it gets worse. I mean, there was a group text of staffers who put this together, this group text, and this was the quote from the group text. It was not necessarily to bring to the NCAA, but it was a way to say, look at how blatant they're being about it. Can you believe these guys? And another source said it's not even like they wanted to hide it. It was just pervasive. And they mentioned by name Antonio Pierce was the assistant coach that started gaining power as more and more people were fired and let go and all this other stuff. So this is probably the worst part of it. It's the actual visits, encouraging them to come, escorting them due to COVID after your program can barely play 4 football games due to outbreaks of COVID, including Herm Edwards himself, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And then second is, so Brandon, this is where the NCAA really comes in, is were they official visits where Arizona State paid money for these players to come across country, or did the players pay? Well, we have a little bit of documentation that answers that question for us that we mentioned on last episode. So first, the players who are named in the document, Brandon, not all the players were named, but the few that were are from New York, Pennsylvania, California, Missouri, Texas, Nevada, Florida, Indiana, and Nebraska.
That's so many places. First of
all, how expensive is a Florida to Arizona plane ticket?
Now, the only reason I know this is because I read the article, but $1,100 is what they spent on the Florida flights for the players and whoever came with them. And Zach, I'll let you take it away. Who was booking these flights?
Oh, man. So 5 of the however many tickets were purchased by allegedly, let's just say allegedly, purchased by Regina Jackson. Guys, in case y'all don't know who Regina Jackson is, it's Jayden Daniels' mother.
I don't know.
Yeah. The damn starting quarterback for Arizona State. His mom was buying recruits plane tickets illegally.
Right.
So the proof is there's tickets that are emailed to Jackson directly from 2 different airlines, and the receipt has her credit card number on them, Brandon. Clearly. And this is where it just gets, I mean, to a point where it's just dumb. Also, Chris Hawkins, the defensive back coach for Arizona State, also is implicated where there's some tickets that had his credit card number and address and email. So let's start with Hawkins before we get to the Regina Jackson stuff. Hawkins said, quote, "I've never paid a kid. I've never paid for a flight. I've never done any of that. I made $100,000 last year. I was the lowest paid Power 5 coach in America. I didn't have the money to be paying players or paying flights. I live check to check. I'm not one of the big guys yet." Well, it's kind of funny. Your credit card was on the ticket, but we'll let that hang right there. And then this document shows that the credit card of Regina Jackson, name, ticket number for a recruit, are tied. In a phone interview with this woman, this is what she said. She says she received in March some Google email notifications or whatever. It's Gmail for those who don't know. Was compromised. Jackson says she called her credit card company, canceled the charges after being notified of the flight charges on her card. She said it was unfortunate. My credit card company notified me of these charges. They sent me a new card. They charged everything back because they realized it wasn't me. Jackson also said her Google account had no record of sending Hawkins an email. The two know each other but don't communicate via email. And she said, quote, "I did not support or help or do anything like that in terms of this." So, Brady, can we have Bluebloods Conspiracy Hour real quick?
Let's do it.
So with this report, one of 2 things happened. One, she's a no good, dirty liar, and Arizona State and her paid for these recruits, and all the violations are true. Or 2, which might be more disturbing than the first, they committed credit card fraud on top of illegally doing this with recruits, in which they stole the starting quarterback's mom's credit card number. Now, which one to you sounds like the more likely story?
What I'll say is that it would seem very stupid if you're going to steal anybody's credit card to be someone who's affiliated with your program at all. Then again, we're talking about Arizona State, and this whole thing just like oozes of stupidity. Like the entire thing. I didn't think that you could do this much wrong and get caught this red-handed. I thought this might have been a bit out of bounds, but apparently not.
It doesn't make any sense to me how it was built. This whole violations, everything was just built so recklessly. It's like you were gonna get caught doing this. You, as we reported on the last episode, you were renting out whole suites for recruits to secretly watch the game, bringing them up the back staircase, taking them on visits at 11 p.m. It's no one's going to notice the group of 20 people walking around campus pitch black, decked out in the newest uniforms and Nike equipment that Arizona State has to offer. Yeah, no one's going to notice that.
Right. That's so stupid, dude.
And then you fire people who don't want to do it, thinking, yeah, they won't snitch. We're gonna take food and paychecks away from these families, but they'll have our back.
Yeah, no. Look, I wish I could defend Arizona State even a little bit, Zach, but they've done nothing right. Yes, I guess there's the argument just guess who hasn't been caught doing this yet. because it might have been done widespread, but dear God, how do you get caught this much? And it's because you make stupid move after stupid move. You write coaches off on this day, and then that's when you have recruits over. You maybe steal a credit card. I'm kidding. No, that would be like the biggest coincidence of all time, by the way. Like,
if they were stealing credit card information, dude, I am going to lose it. Listen, I'll just say this: I've never been a fan of the death penalty. You got to give the death penalty to Arizona State if they were committing credit card fraud on top of everything else. Like, listen, we'll discuss at the end what the violations might be. If they were committing credit card fraud and this nice lady was not lying, death penalty to everybody. The whole program got to shut down. Arizona, you take the state.
Did we mention that Jayden Daniels isn't implicated at all in this? Like, even though his mom's credit card was used, he's just somehow not implicated in this whole thing.
Like, who approached her to do it? Like, right. You figure, like, do you think it was like homework? Like, remember when, like, you were in kindergarten and the teacher was like, turn around and, like, put a note in your backpack? Like, Jayden Daniels was walking out of the locker room. They were like, turn around, man. I got to put something in your backpack. Make sure your mom gets your report card today.
Please fill out this form. What is your credit card number? What's the expiration, the 3-digit code on the back? And what's your billing address?
Oh my God! Email this guy if you have any problems. And I mean, it's not looking good. And listen, the biggest thing is now at the end of this article, the NCAA said to get these athletes to testify, they're going to hold their eligibility against them, which means that not only was Arizona State dumb and just ruined all the positive momentum. Because Brandon, spoiler alert to everyone listening, I was picking Arizona State to come out the Pac-12 South this year. Like, I was so hyped for this program. I was a huge Herm Edwards fan, but you ruined that all the work you did. You ruined it for what? And on top of that, you might have ruined the career of 15 to 40 kids, depending on like the amount that came. And you could have ruined even more depending on who was on the team that knew who hosted these recruits. Where did they stay? Did you put them in the dorms with your players? And God forbid they find out that you put them in the dorm with the players and the players knew and the player got COVID. Like, what is going to happen to that?
Well, and what about the coaches, Zach? We're not talking enough about the coaches. What if you're like an offensive analyst on this team, and what are you going to do? Stand up to Herm Edwards and be like, no, we can't do this? So you're probably ruining these guys' careers as well. I mean, a lot of offensive analysts, defensive analysts, I mean, team analysts in general are super young guys, like graduate assistant level even. And like they can't stand up to the head coach or even like any administration whatsoever. And if they do,
because if you get fired at 23, dude, there's no like who's going to hire you?
Right. Yeah, you couldn't be an analyst on this team. Well, we're not going to hire you to do anything. I mean, and that's just how it goes. So they're screwed either way. Either they got fired from this whole thing, or they're never going to get a job again because they were wrapped up in it.
And I mean, so we make a lot of jokes about this being like the House of Cards. At least he knew what was going on. Like, at least he knew like there were people conspiring against him. Like, you didn't know of the mass group text?
Yeah, dude. I think if you're Herm Edwards, you just got to quit because you can't have this happening. Like, you cannot continue in this program knowing that there's people just, I don't know. The whole thing is so super sketchy, and I don't know how anybody on this staff keeps their job after this.
I know. We'll get to that in just a second. I want to say one more thing before we move on. If you're an athlete watching this by chance, if you're a parent watching this, you have a kid who like is eventually going to be a high school athlete that's getting recruited. Any coach that would put your son and you in danger like this, that they don't care about y'all at all, man. Like surround yourself with the right people. Like don't you okay. I hate doing this, but if you're a parent who puts your kid on a plane to illegally visit Arizona State, you're a bad parent. What are you doing?
We just lost 6 subscribers.
That's fine. That's fine. If those 6 parents or whoever got on or watching this that got on that plane, unsubscribe. I don't need you. Like, we're good. We got the other 300 something people who subscribe to our show. We're good. Like, I get it. If you're getting recruited by Arizona State, if you're that top 100 recruit, you're going to put your eligibility, you're going to put your scholarships to other programs, you're going to put, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17 years of work that you put to get to where you are as a senior, and you're going to throw it all the way for Arizona State?
Dude, and I hate to say this too, because I know our last Arizona State got some pretty good coverage. Arizona State video got some pretty good coverage. Because what I assume happens is people go on YouTube and type in Arizona State to figure out about the scandal. And I'm sure that people who are kind of entangled in this whole thing are also doing that. So I hate to say this, but if you're one of those players who went out and visited, I wouldn't want to be you right now, because the NCAA kind of holds your fate in their hands. And if you don't think they're going to find out who was out there, you're wrong. Because
they already have all the names easily. And let them call one of those players in that group of 40 you went with and say, "Hey, you ain't gonna be eligible. We're gonna pull your scholarship for where you committed.
Exactly.
You don't tell me who was there. What's gonna happen?"
That's what I'm saying, man. It's there's going to be an investigation, and the NCAA does move pretty slowly usually, but I have a feeling that they're going to make an example out of Arizona State and everybody involved. I mean, I said that in the last video, but they are going to make an example out of this entire situation.
Yeah, and I mean, I know it's strong. It's just like, man, if you got your kid's best interest, man, why would you put everything on the line for one school? Because if you're getting recruited by Arizona State, you've had other offers.
I mean, that's not necessarily the case. Now, I agree with you usually.
Well, I'm saying because Arizona State's a Pac-12 school. Arizona State, for me, has been a top 20 program these past 2 years under Herm Edwards. Right. If you're that high profile, you had other Power 5 offers. There's no way you didn't.
Yeah, I mean that's
so amazing. That was more of like a compliment to Arizona State than like a diss. Like it was like, you're such a big, like, this isn't a kid at South Alabama breaking. Like, yeah, that might be your only scholarship. I got you. But if you're a top 100 recruit, Brandon, he's got 30, 40 offers minimum.
Right. You
can't do that. And if Herm Edwards cared about these recruits, cared about their families, cared about the kids' well-being, then you wouldn't do something so stupid.
No, absolutely not. And guys, if you are entangled in this somehow and you're watching this, understand that Herm Edwards is showing a lot about himself in this whole situation. Because
I need a statement.
What's that?
I need a statement from Herm Edwards. I need to hear something.
And he's right about this, because there are coaches in college that will care about the players, but there's a lot of coaches out there that care about, am I going to be coaching here next season? I'm going to do anything I need to win. And that's what Herm Edwards got caught up in. And that's kind of, I'm not going to say this has been his whole career, but it kind of has been. He's like, I need to get this next contract. I need to win right now. And he's really good at doing it. But it turns out that he probably cares about that more than he does about these kids. And that's, to me, that's a deal breaker. If I'm an athlete, if I'm a parent who's sending my kid to go play for a school, if this coach cares more about his job, his Power 5 football job, than he does about the athletes that that are growing around him, then don't play for that guy. Don't do it.
So, I mean, we got to move on here. That's just absolute crazy. Now, I can't believe those were the details coming out. But, Brandon, let's get to this one. For you, I think I know your answer here, because I thought you were kind of here last episode. Does this report seal the fate of Herm Edwards?
Hell yeah, dude. He's fired. He's fired for sure. There's no chance he comes back, right? The NCAA is going to come down with I don't even know what, with a flaming hammer, and just, you're done. You're done. You're out. See you later.
Oh, man. And so what about Arizona State, man? How bad does it get for the university?
Look, they're one of the biggest universities in the country. I think they get a lot of really, really negative press out of this. And I think it affects recruiting, because they're probably not going to be bowl eligible for the next season, next 2 seasons, 3 seasons, however long.
I'm about to say it might be 4 or 5.
Dude, and honestly, I mean, the NCAA doesn't like to come out with a death penalty anymore. I'm telling you, they're trying to make an example out of Arizona State. I'm not saying they're going to do that, but if they did, it wouldn't really surprise me. So it's obviously going to affect recruiting. I think this whole situation affects the student body in general. I think a lot of parents see what happens here and sees that the university was caught up in this whole thing, and they're like, you know what? I don't know if I want my kid going there. It affected Baylor the same type of way. I mean, obviously different circumstances there. It affected them. Their attendance is down. I believe it affected Penn State when all that stuff happened there. I know what happened at SMU in the 80s. I know for a fact it happened then. Attendance was way down. I mean, it was never up to start with. But I mean, it's a Methodist school, like small Methodist school. But for Arizona State, I mean, this 50,000 student population school, I think there's some parents out there that are like, you know what, I don't think I want to pay for my kid to go to school here. And I don't know if I would advise my kid to go to school here if I'm not paying for it. So I do think that we see it not only affect them negatively recruiting, but also just in like as a university in general.
Yeah. The AD's gone. Herm Edwards is gone.
Damn.
All these, I mean, they're going to have to clean. I mean, the house is empty. They're taking the furniture and setting it on fire outside.
That's true. It's
they
not
might
that
tear down the athletic. Yeah, they might tear down the athletic facility and just rebuild it. That's like how much dirt's in there. I mean, for me, man, I don't see how this ends well for anybody. I don't see how it ends well for the current players. I think we see if Tennessee lost as many players as they did, Arizona State might lose 30 or more.
Yeah.
To be honest, now with a 1 free transfer rule, and it's just I hate to see it because I was really counting on Arizona State to help Oregon, Washington, USC really improve the Pac-12 perception. I think Arizona State was going to be a top 15 team this year. Yeah. I really did. I was super confident. Go ahead.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities. I was just chiming in.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just now what? Now Arizona was terrible. They hired Jed Fish. They're going to be rebuilding. Arizona State, man, like how I would not be surprised if you had 5 to 7 years of implications moving forward in terms of recruiting, in terms of bowl bans, in terms of postseason bans, in terms of fines. And I mean, it's going to affect this university so much, and I'm interested to see what comes out next, man. But when you have parents of current players possibly paying for plane tickets, coaches, former coaches, you have staff with the group text wanting to get you in trouble, I don't see how anyone survives this. They're going to have to just tear it all down.
Yeah, I think so. I think this program is, I mean, they're about to be in destruct and rebuild mode because I think every single coach on that staff is out. I think the AD for sure is out. And I think, like you said, the players end up transferring out. We're going to see a whole new Arizona State program probably even come this fall.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's going to be some years of rebuilding. Listen, it's not going to be good. So a comment below what y'all think of these new details that have emerged out of this dossier. If you're an Arizona State fan, what do you think? We had a lot of Arizona State fans actually comment. Hang on, I got to get this guy's name because I definitely want to.
I'll fill in some gaps real quick. You guys want to know how dumb I am? The whole time I was reading Dossier, I was like, who the heck? Like, it's the Dozier report? What's a Dozier? I don't know what that is. So that's
oh my goodness.
If you didn't think I was an idiot already, then here you go. Here's some ammunition.
Man, I have to fight because this dude was so upset.
Shout out to you guys on that last, like I mentioned earlier, that last Arizona State video did numbers. It's one of our best performing videos on YouTube so far. We've been doing this for months, and apparently this is a real hot topic. So we're hoping to give you guys exactly what you want with this episode, and hopefully we get the same type of engagement. Like Zach said, comment below, weigh in. What you got, Zach?
Doug, if you're out there, Doug, I love you, man. I appreciate the support. Thanks for the sub last episode. We love you here. Man, he said it's a first-time podcast listener. Excellent episode. As a long-time ASU fan, we are doomed. I'm drinking. It's only 9 a.m. Listen, man, I'm sorry. Like, we can only report the news. Listen, as an Auburn guy, you can keep in the A's. We'll accept you with open arms if you need a school to root for these next few years as we get through.
Doug, let me say this, dude. Keep drinking because it's not getting any better. So if you're watching this one live tomorrow, maybe start drinking a little bit earlier. Maybe 8 a.m. should be the move.
Yeah, and shout out to Bradley too. He's a former player, and he blamed Antonio Pierce last episode, who he dropped. He already knew the name, and he calls some people a rat. So, yeah, there were some rats in the building. I will drive with you on that. But guys, make sure to subscribe, man. Always a fun time here on the Blue Blood. We'll be back next week. And we actually have a dope interview coming out tomorrow for Tennessee. Make sure to check that out now. SEC in 30 days is wrapping up. Tennessee is out today. Go check out all 4 of our other episodes this week for the 2-minute drill and SEC in 30 days. And guys, we'll be back next week. We got some big announcements coming next week. We got some big videos coming out, big interview set up. So make sure to subscribe, turn on the post notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up. And for next week, guys, B-Dub and I'll be back 5 days of the 2-minute drill, and we got some more stuff coming. But for B-Dub, myself, the 2-minute drill, and the Blue Bloods, we are out.